wait for a moment, please.
Gordon Stead, based in Shrewsbury. They all keep saying that Shrewsbury is a beautiful place, but the bus station and the toilets are a disgrace. I go up to Huddersfield. That's not a tourist area, Huddersfield, and the bus station and the amenities there for cafes and that are a lot better. Shrewsbury is a disgrace, and it ought to be put right.
Okay, let's see who's going to commit to putting it right. Daniel Kawczynski's already talked about beautifying the railway station. What about Laura Davis for Labour? What about the state of the bus station, etc.?
It's not just the bus station that's a disgrace. So many of our bus services have been cut recently by the Conservative-led council, precipitated by the huge cuts to local council budgets from his government, especially to places like Bayston Hill. We can't promote tourism and retail in Shrewsbury on a Sunday if nobody can get in without bringing their cars. Rural bus services are especially being hit. So I would suggest it's not just the bus station that needs refurbishing, it's the whole of the bus service in this and surrounding areas.
Okay, Emma Bullard from Greens.
I mean, I completely agree with you about the bus station. It is a disgrace, and one of the really weird things is how you can't find any information. There's that little desk at the back of the, newsagents, and they only have the one set of timetables. They have the Arriva timetables, but they don't have any of the subsidised services timetables. So it's completely unhelpful. And if you wanted to design a way to discourage people from using the buses unless they absolutely had to, that would be ideal. And if you look at buses in London, where you have an Oyster card, you have a way of paying that's transferable between different modes of public transport. You have frequent buses. You have lots of choice of routes. I know Shrewsbury's never going to be London, but the point is you have to invest, and this is shown obviously in continental Europe as well. You have to invest in public transport as a public good. You have to believe that this is actually going to benefit everybody if you have good public transport, and you have to prioritise it. So I agree.
Daniel Kawczynski, the railway station should be nicer. What about the bus station?
Well, I think to if I may just for a moment come to the defence of Shropshire Council Unitary Authority, which has been attacked by the Labour candidate, may I please remind the audience that we have had council tax frozen for the last 6 years in a row. I remember the last year of the Labour Lib Dem administration of Shropshire Council when it went up by 16.1% in 1 year.
Okay, can I just go back to Gordon who asked this question? Gordon, would you pay higher council tax if the bus station were nicer?
No.
Okay,
don't forget.
I think kind of concludes Daniel Kawczynski's answer on that. Christine Tinker.
Gordon, I do totally agree with you about the bus station, and I don't think anyone on the panel would suggest that it's fine to stay as it is. Time and time again, what we keep coming back to is the infrastructure of our transport, which, for lots of questions that have already been asked, it becomes vital that we do improve that infrastructure. As regards the building itself, I'm not in a position to say, yes, the council will spend however much money to knock it down and build it. We've also got to think about all the cuts that have been made so that there isn't the spare money, so we are always told, to actually do that. And I would just like to suggest to Daniel that keeping the council tax frozen for so long might not be the ideal solution. I know nobody here would volunteer to pay more for their council tax probably, but if they could see it led directly to services being improved, transport facilities being improved, maybe you would be prepared to pay a little more for those benefits.
Okay, just deeply unscientific survey. Would anyone here pay a higher council tax for better services? Okay, Suzanne Evans, UKIP. Gordon's question about the bus station.
Yes, Gordon's absolutely right. It is not the prettiest part of Shrewsbury, and it would certainly benefit, I think, from tidying up and having some investment. I recently caught a coach down to London, And I thought I'd missed it because I was there and there wasn't anyone around, and I thought, but of course there was no way of knowing whether the coach had gone or not because there's no signage whatsoever. So I was desperately trying to find out what was happening on my phone, and eventually it was late and it was stuck in Birmingham, so I breathed a sigh of relief, but it would have been nice to have known without having to go to that effort. The thing that shocks me most, I think, is the expense of bus services in Shrewsbury. I'm lucky, I can afford to run a car. If you can't afford to run a car, I think it must be immensely difficult. It costs less to get a bus journey in London than it does in Shrewsbury. In fact, in Shrewsbury it costs nearly twice as much as it does in London. That cannot be right, and there has to be something done about this. I think rural bus services are a lifeline. We need to invest in them, not cut them, and that's not just about raising council tax, it's about the bus companies investing as well, and I think that should be a priority, and I'd certainly make it one.